You probably don't know how Michael Strahan is the biggest outlier in all of professional sports. He barely played high school football, let alone make it to the NFL. This man didn't even grow up in America. So how did Strahan, a kid living in Germany, turn out to be one of the best defensive ends to ever play the game, and then become a successful media mogul? He's even reached places that astronauts train their entire lives for. The script for Michael Strahan starts off in Houston, Texas, where he was born in a city and state known for football. But then his story completely changes. His father was an Army major, and when Strahan was 9 years old, the whole family moved onto an Army base in Mannheim, West Germany. Goodbye Houston, and hello discipline. This big move would later mold Michael Strahan. A main staple of development in football players is discipline, and who would know it better than the son of an Army major? Strahan did play some high school football, but it was in Germany. He got his athletic genes from his father, who was a former boxer, and his mother, who was a basketball coach. But not many players are highly recruited out of the U.S. Department of Defense dependent high schools overseas. No one was watching Strahan across the pond. Nothing about this setup would breed a professional football player. Most in his position would turn to different career paths. But Strahan's sheer will, paired with that discipline from his Army upbringing, gave him a chance at doing something special. If only Strahan had a connection to the football world back in America. But was it too late? The summer before Strahan's senior year of high school was set to start, his father sent him back to Houston. Why? Well, because Strahan's uncle, Art Strahan, was there. And Art just so happened to be a retired NFL defensive lineman. There was the missing piece of the puzzle that Michael Strahan needed. But was just being there for his senior year enough time? Strahan was going to get 1 year of high school football in America, hoping to get recruited to a college, while millions of other kids in the country would have several years of experience and exposure over him. That advantage gap between other kids and Strahan was almost as big as the gap between his front teeth. But Strahan had the discipline that many growing up in America didn't have. In one season of high school football, he was good enough to get a scholarship to Texas Southern University, just like his uncle had done years ago. And Strahan lit up the college scene. He became Jordan-esque. That's right, when Michael Jordan faced off against the Pistons, they had Jordan rules just to stop the man. Well, TSU coaches noticed how frequently Strahan got double-teamed because of his dominance, so they dubbed it Strahan rules. Not only was Strahan Jordan-esque, not only was he the outlier, he was also the record setter. His senior year at TSU, he tallied 68 tackles, 32 tackles being for a loss of a total of 142 yards, and 19 sacks, a school record. For his entire career at TSU, he notched 41.5 sacks, another school record. Strahan moved from Houston to Germany and then back to Houston, but now he lived in the backfield, terrorizing offensive players. After 1 year of American high school football, he put together a stellar career in college and became a legitimate NFL prospect. The draft was approaching. Had Strahan done enough to get noticed by NFL teams? It was 1993, and Strahan was ready to head to the NFL, eager to know which team would pick him. The mystery dissipated as Strahan got a promise from a head coach who said he would be picking him in the first round. That coach is now his colleague on Fox NFL Sunday, Jimmy Johnson. So Strahan believed he'd be selected very early, except the Cowboys ended up trading their pick to Green Bay for more picks. They didn't pick Strahan, and no one else took him in the first round, so he was left waiting. Strahan was eventually picked up by the Giants in the second round with the 40th overall pick. He'd be in the same division as the Cowboys, who broke their promise to him, and he would remember that. His first year in New York was unremarkable. He didn't start a single game, only played in 9 total. He had 3 tackles and 1 sack. Perhaps the criticisms of Strahan were coming to light. He didn't have enough time with the game, not enough experience on the field, and the speed of the pros had caught up to him. Though he wasn't a rookie anyone was talking about, he kept working on his game in the shadows, powered by that strong discipline built in him. Strahan began to improve each year. His second year, he had 40 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. His third year, he had 58 tackles, 7.5 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles, and even 2 interceptions. Quarterbacks soon started to keep an eye out for Strahan. Coaches were taking notice. They began to game plan against him. But he wasn't being stopped. His game kept improving. In 1997, he made his first Pro Bowl and received first-team All-Pro honors. In 1998, he did it again, and he won Defensive Player of the Year. He would win that award once more in 2001, the year of Strahan. He led the league in forced fumbles with 6. He led the league in tackles for loss with 24. And he led the league in sacks with 22.5. A new NFL record. A record that still stands today more than 20 years later, and it was only tied by T.J. Watt in 2021. Strahan detailed his strategy, saying how you don't need so many moves, just 1 or 2. A favorite of his was the power slip. According to Strahan, the power slip is where you just head straight for the guy, put your head down, and you try to run through him. Once you get him off his feet, you just slip one side or you slip the other. You do that, you can make a 300-pound guy fall on his butt. Strahan's less is more approach worked. He had 141.5 career sacks. The team he sacked more than any other was the Eagles, with 21.5. But the team that registered second on his list of annihilation, with 18 sacks, was the Dallas Cowboys. He got his payback for their broken promise. But what did all of this mean without a Super Bowl? Strahan's Giants would bounce back and forth, winning the division, back of the division, playoff appearances, missing the playoffs. Strahan even once said that he might be one of those guys who just never wins a Super Bowl. His production continued as he was one of the most dominant defensive ends in the league, even in his later years. 2007 rolled around and many people speculated about his retirement. He was 36 years old, but he still had 9 sacks that season. His Giants achieved a 10-6 record, second in the NFC East, so only a wildcard team. And wildcard teams never do much in the playoffs. But they kept winning, and they made it to the Super Bowl. Still, it would likely be for nothing because they were about to face the undefeated New England Patriots. It was a nice run while it lasted. But the New England juggernaut that couldn't be stopped all season were having serious issues with the Giants' defensive line, led by Strahan. That offense looked like it was stuck in the mud. The big story of that Super Bowl was how the Giants' defensive line absolutely whooped the Patriots' offensive line. Brady had so much pressure all game that he was missing throws he'd made all season. And guess who delivered a critical sack to Brady on 3rd and 7 in the middle of the third quarter? Michael Strahan, the outlier, the record setter, and now the Super Bowl champion. Strahan infused his underdog mentality into the entire Giants team. Strahan was a guy who never should have made it to the NFL, but he did so against all odds. The Giants were a team that never should have beaten New England, but Strahan led that team to one of the biggest upsets in Super Bowl history.
We ain't supposed to be here, right? The quarterback cannot be sacked, can't even be hit. We don't stand a chance.
After winning that Super Bowl, Strahan retired, ended up a legend in New York Giants and NFL history.
I want to thank you for taking a 15-year journey with me.
So would Strahan just fade away, right off into the sunset? Or did the disciplined army brat have more in store for the world? Strahan was done playing professionally, but you can't keep a guy like that away from football. Nor can you keep him out of the spotlight. Millions have seen Strahan give his unique perspectives on Fox NFL Sunday with Jimmy Johnson and others. He seems to have forgiven Jimmy for breaking that promise to him long ago. But Strahan didn't just limit himself to only being a football analyst. His electric personality and dedication to whatever craft he sets his mind to landed him a spot on Good Morning America. Yes, the Super Bowl winner, the football great, has become a co-anchor on a major morning show that most of you have seen him on. Another place you'd never expect a former NFL player to be. And the crazy part is that he still didn't stop with that. Strahan created his own skincare and shaving products line. He even had a men's clothing line exclusively through JCPenney. The man was pretty much everywhere on Earth that you never thought he'd be. But he would find a way to go further beyond that. because on December 11, 2021, Strahan became the first former NFL player to ever go to space. He went a whole 66 miles up with a small crew as part of a Blue Origin mission, hitting speeds of 2,200 miles per hour and experiencing zero gravity. And once he got down to Earth, he said, "I want to go back." And that is what makes Strahan special. He started off as a traveling Army brat, and though he learned discipline from his parents and the situation, he had to take a different path to make any of these big things happen. It was sheer will and dedication to whatever he focused on. Perhaps the football player with the most drive and determination you'll ever witness. He defied the odds to create not just an unforgettable career, but a legendary life. This is The Gridiron.